record on this computer. Okay, so now we've got everything going. Okay, great. So as usual, I want to first tell you about some of the AI news that I've picked up over the last couple of weeks that's been happening. The first one is there's a big gap developing between AI spending and revenue. Now, you guys might remember we've mentioned a bunch of funding rounds that has been happening with OpenAI and Claude and Perplexity, and all of these tools have been raking in the money from investors, but the revenue that they've been generating hasn't really been keeping up with it. So it's sort of, from the investors' point of view and from the developers' point of view, people are a little bit concerned, but I suppose it's kind of normal in terms of it is still the first year. So hopefully all of that is built into the plans that the rollout plans that people have. But yeah, it just says that there is still a massive amount of money being spent on AI in general by the investor community. The next one, Zoom's a bizarre plan for AI clones and meetings. So they want to take this one step further. Instead of just having you on the meeting with maybe a clone or a avatar or something showing up, as a picture of you, they actually they want to go so far to actually put a full-on clone of yourself into a meeting, so that this clone, so that you don't have to attend it, but this AI will actually act on behalf of you. Now that could get totally weird, as you can think. That's why they call it bizarre, because if all of us are a bunch of AI people talking to each other, and then afterwards we go and get the summary, or we go get our to-do list from it, I don't know how that's going to work out. It just sounds a little bit too weird for me. So, but that's where Zoom, the CEO of Zoom, sees things going, when we don't always have to be at meetings. That not only will we get the recording of the meetings, or the summary of the meetings, but that we'll actually be able to participate in those meetings with these AI clones of ourselves. So that's kind of weird. Hey, Tony, welcome. Nice to see you back. So yeah, I'm just going through a little bit of AI news that we've been seeing over the last few weeks. Another interesting one is that a new report reveals that AI was actually hacked earlier this year, and they've kept it very quiet. For obvious reasons, they don't want to cause any concerns with the user side of things. They say the reason why they kept it quiet because no one's details were stolen, and there wasn't no one's information, none of the users or the subscribers' informations was compromised. So therefore, they felt like they didn't need to let everybody know. But it is a little bit concerned that that big system of theirs, all of their technology that they have was compromised, and people could actually steal some of that technology. And who knows what these hackers could do with that, and maybe sell it on to people that can do something harmful with that information, or pass it along to somebody that's going to build a second OpenAI. So yeah, that was a bit concerning to hear. Another one is Apple scores a seat on the OpenAI board. So as you know, Microsoft has got to deal with OpenAI, and Microsoft sits on the board of OpenAI, and now Apple has got a seat on the board. So it's quite a weird scenario, I suppose, with these board meetings, with these competitors really sitting there and talking to one another about the future of AI and where things are going. And they're being very close to one another in terms of their business, and possibly having to share some of the future plans of what they're doing. But you'll also remember that Apple included ChatGPT into the release of the latest Apple developments, that ChatGPT would be one of the tools that you could use on your Apple devices. So they're all working together still and finding ways to collaborate. Then the other thing is Chat or GPT-4 is now being trained by GPT-4. So what they're doing is they actually released a little tool within ChatGPT when specifically for coding. For when you go getting ChatGPT to write code for you, that you could literally ask ChatGPT to fix whatever mistakes. And there's a little pink bubble that comes up that would check your coding that it's written, and that it would identify the mistakes that GPT-4 did, and then tell GPT-4 how to fix it. So I don't know why they can't make this happen in the background, but it is a tool in order to improve on GPT-4's ability to do coding. And I think GPT has fallen a little bit, GPT-4 has fallen a little bit behind in terms of coding. Well, it was never really known as a good coding tool. Some of the other tools have really overtaken it, and especially now with Claude as well. Claude has really sort of gone leaps and bounds, and I'll talk a lot about Claude a little bit later. And then Perplexity Pro Search gets an upgrade. Perplexity has kept adding new functionality into their tools. So that's as you know, as I've said before, I kind of like Perplexity and the way that it's the direction that it's going in combining search with AI stuff. Perplexity got into a bit of trouble at one stage for also using other people's information and just copying and pasting it instead of providing search as such or AI as such. But they seem to have gotten past that. And the Pro Search version, basically what it allows you to do is the search will iteratively go through your question and give you sort of a breakdown on the process that it follows to answer complex questions. So that's what Perplexity is up to. 11 Labs adds voice clones of famous actors. So you could basically have people like James Dean or Burt Reynolds or Sir Laurence Olivier read some of your favorite books or articles on the internet or whatever it is. So it's kind of like a podcast, I suppose, that you can create out of any text or that you find on the internet. AI Sportscaster will give Olympic recaps. Now with the Olympics, apparently NBC is going to put out up to 7 million customized recaps of whatever sporting events there are. And they're using well-known NBC commentators with their permission at this time, and not like the other debacle that they had, but with their permission to actually create little summaries of all these sporting events, which you can then obviously go onto their website and you listen to commentators, which are AI commentators, commentate on all the sports. And Nintendo is rejecting generative AI. Basically, Nintendo is saying that's not the route they want to follow. They don't want to incorporate AI just yet. I don't think they've written it off completely, but at this stage, they're saying it isn't in their current plans, which is interesting because everybody seemed to think that, and almost all investors demand that the company's executives follow this route. And then AI document analysis startup, it's one called Hebia. Apparently, that's one to watch in the future in terms of analyzing documents and breaking it down. I'm not sure what it's actually do, but they managed to get $100 million investment for that. And then the last article is just about how to fix the original sin that they call it now, the whole thing about copyright around AI world, and how the law is complicated, and generative AI systems manage to touch on a great many corners of it. And this article was basically saying that all of these issues are so complex, and people are not finding answers at the moment in terms of authorship or similarity or liability or anything like that. So it's a whole new field for the law really to define what copyright is and how AI comes into it. So yeah, that's just some of the stuff that I've noticed that's going around the AI world. I don't know if anybody else has got any news in terms of some interesting things that you guys might have noticed that's been happening. Anybody with sort of gossip from anything that I haven't mentioned here yet? No? Good. That means I captured everything. That's good. No, that's good. So I also would just want to mention, we've spoken a bit in the beginning about, or at one stage about consulting firms like Accenture and WPP and now I've forgotten the others' names. But apart from these that I've got on the screen here, they are actually starting to make a lot of money on AI. BCG has now derives a fifth of its revenue from AI, up from zero just a couple of years ago. McKinsey expects to make 40% of its business to be AI related. IBM has secured over $1 billion in AI sales in just the last year. Accenture has booked over 300 million AI related sales just last year. So these consulting firms are cashing in, but I think it's more a factor of the need that exists within the AI or the business community in terms of what the business community is asking for. People with business, they're trying to figure out the AI strategies. They trying to figure out what is the right platform to use, what are the priority use cases. They're looking beyond efficiency into innovation, change management, and education and training. So a good comment that I saw, it's very hard for existing teams within organizations to all have full-time jobs to figure out how all of this out, and when they themselves likely have no formal training and a deep understanding of AI. So I think that's the challenge with a lot of businesses, large and small, sits with, is to figure out AI if you don't have a full-time staff on it. And that's why the consulting firms are coming in there. So the paralysis problem is that a lot of people big organizations get stuck there when they see because they're trying to fix the big problem, or they're trying to solve for the macro level things that's out there. And I think what's happening is a lot of them are losing sight that there can be smaller use cases or single use cases that you can bring in from AI to start solving problems all over the business. Whereas, instead of just the macro, the big things, this is where companies can create immediate value and focus on low risk and high rewards use cases. There's a lack of understanding that there are thousands of use cases of them that are totally innocuous, with no threat whatsoever to leakage, privacy concerns, and those sort of regulations and ethical issues. If people took more of initiative just to start identifying single use cases where they can make an impact, and then stack those use cases. So yeah, I think that's maybe some good advice there in terms of for bigger businesses, that instead of waiting to solve the big issues and the privacy concerns, and find those things where they're not going to make a difference, and start getting stuck in with AI on those sort of things. Cool. Anybody with some comments on that, or comments or questions on those? No, everybody very quiet today. So what I wanted to show you today, after all of the stuff we've gone through in the past, is I know 2 weeks ago I spoke about Claude Sonnet 3.5 and its additions that it's done, but I know my screen wasn't very clear, and you guys probably didn't see much of it, so I thought I'd just cover that, but also just a little bit more thoroughly. And then I want to show you a cool tool called Websim that is basically leveraged off Claude Sonnet's 3.5 capabilities, and what Websim is going to do, and sort of blow your mind there a little bit. So I want to go to the Claude Sonnet web page here quickly, and just in terms of their launch, what they've described it to be. So just in terms of the capability of Claude, they reckon that Claude, the 3.5 that's now come out, just in terms of intelligence, is outranking everything that they've done by far, but also more importantly, it's a lot more cost effective. So the tokens that it costs to run queries and to run conversations is much lower. So especially for those businesses that link in through their APIs or their apps or their things, that Claude is now one of the cheapest tools to use. They also reckon their speed is increased dramatically. And then they show off on all of these sort of things in terms of reasoning and knowledge and code and multilingual math and all of those sort of things, that they're superior to most other things like their own Claude, GPT-4o, Gemini, as well as Llama. So Claude is definitely leading the race in terms of developing this. And Claude, I have to say, has also been the leader in terms of safety and security. OpenAI has been a little bit loose and fast with their security type of stuff, but Claude is leading the race with that. But then also they've approved on their vision capability. You guys might remember we showed off at some stage GPT-4's vision capability, basically where you can upload any picture or any graph or anything like that and ask the large language models to interpret that for you. You know, Claude is capability is on that front has improved vastly. So, and especially how it links to analytics and those sort of things. And then this is the cool stuff that comes, the artifacts that they've now launched. So before I play this video, basically what it does is when you type your query on the left-hand side of the, or within the chat with Claude 3.5, that it opens up a window within Claude on the right-hand side that shows you as it develops the code of what you're asking for, it shows you what it looks like. So your preview almost of what you are building, whether that be a game or whether it be a website or an interactive tool, that it actually shows up immediately on the right-hand side. So I think that's super cool to watch. So I just want you guys to have a look at this. So when this just indicates that when you go into Claude next time to switch on the artifacts capability, and then here it asks it, can you create an 8-bit style crab for me? So talking about the game. And then what it does, it runs the code. So, and then it starts showing you the visual of the game that you're asking for. So just by prompting, not you know, it's basically any prompt that you give, that it'll start building this tool for you. And you can see that there you can then interactively or iteratively work on this game by adding more and stuff. For instance, can you make the seashells in the same style? And then Claude goes ahead and it builds whatever your game is here on the right-hand side in the same style. And then you can say, okay, well, can you add some clouds? And then it adds some clouds into the game. And then you could say, can you make it into a scrolling game? And again, the Claude runs through the improves on the code, and now you can see the game taking shape with the clouds and the scrolling game on the bottom that you can actually make playable. And you say, make this playable, that the crab jump over oncoming shells and make some styling too. And then I want to call this crab Claude. So then it updates the code for the game, and then it's a playable game that you can literally play right there in Claude. And then obviously you can take this HTML or whatever it's language it's written it in, and you can go and deploy it wherever you want to. So I think for coders, and I know that not everybody here is very technical, but if you could just follow in terms of how this makes it easier and easier. So literally with zero coding skills or knowledge, you can now build a little app of your own. Now you can think of, if you do have some coding skills, where this can ultimately go. So that's just on the launching page of Claude 3.5. So that's the feature where you can switch it on. And then I just want to show you, yes, something else somebody has done, where it says demonstrate all the artifacts that you can make. So all the capabilities. And then Claude has sort of created this list. I'll just skip ahead to where now on the left-hand side, you'll see all this different stuff that it's done. But the first one is a code wizard website. So literally on the right-hand side, it's create a code wizard website where you can actually, you have a title, a main heading, and the boxes where you can do that. And it wrote that code for this website purely within Claude. And you'll, for those of you who try to build websites, you'll with HTML and that sort of stuff, this will take you quite a while to write something like that. And then you can say add some SVGs to it. In other words, add some pictures or make it a little bit more colorful. And then just by typing in that prompt, it updates that website that you built, and then you'll see the result that it comes up with a better looking website. Now, it's not flashy, crazy, beautiful, but look at just by prompting that you can build a quick website with it. So that's quite exciting as well. And then I want to show you some other examples that people have now started using, and I'm just going to show you just on Twitter where some people have posted some stuff that they've been doing. Like this guy who's built a blackjack game, and he basically just with a prompt said make a blackjack game. The cards should show. Well, I couldn't read that prompt, but there on the right hand side, it's literally built a playable blackjack game where you can click on the buttons and it deals you cards. It deals cards on the dealer's behalf, but it's got the full game coming out there. So that's pretty cool. This guy's just built a sort of a physics, a 3D solar system. And again, his prompt was make a 3JS Canon 3D solar system, and it's created this interactive map. So now you can start thinking about use cases for this, where you can, in an education setup maybe, or wherever you need to do an explanation, you can build 3D maps of things, which if previously you needed to ask a coder or developer to build this for you, would have cost you a fair amount of money to build a tool like this. And just with a couple of prompts, it can be used. It takes you also through the process of how this guy built this. And it's pretty cool how they do it. This one, for instance, it just asked for a original game of, so it asked it to come up with its own game of Cascades. And so it literally didn't tell it what the game must look like, but Claude has gone and created an original game. It's taken a little bit from other games and it's created this game from nothing. Or this one is asking for just beautiful visualizations or 3D type of art and things, and it's written the code for something that looks quite spectacular. So I'm just showing you guys quickly some examples, because the point again is not to sort of get you to do this, but you can literally go and do this in Claude right now, is to think how can we use this in use cases and make it more practical. So in this case, an educational tool that this lady has built, where you can literally feed it with information and then create an interactive thing that you can click on the buttons and learn by asking questions and answering questions. So these are more examples of those. Sound effects generator using 11 Labs within Claude, which I didn't know you could do, but apparently you could do that. So a bunch of cool examples that people are coming up with in Claude. Here's an example of a backgammon game. Now, you guys know this is a very complex game. What this person did is literally go to Wikipedia and copy the whole page as the instructions. It says, read the instructions for this two-player game, code the game for me, and make an executable application for it. And it did that on the right-hand side within Claude. And then I think later on, this was actually a lady. She put in a picture of what the backgammon game looks like, just a picture, and Claude managed to create the whole game with just those few instructions. So quite incredible. So I think I can quickly show you.
All right, can it create a 3D first-person shooter?
Is used So like a 3D game, 3D shooter game. This one is particles floating around in the sky. This one is using all of this information to create infographic on the information, and it's interactive as well. The infographic, and I think there's one more that this is a visualization of sound that it's created. This is where it grabs a screenshot of Spotify, the website, and it asks it to create the same website, and it literally did that as well. But I'll show you another example of where Claude has done that. So yeah, before I get to what Websim has done now with this information, you guys following me? Is there any questions? I'm sure you guys have questions, because this is quite mind-boggling stuff. Everybody good? Is this too much? Is this too technical? Hopefully not. I'm not technical, so and this is getting me excited. So hopefully you guys are with me. Any thoughts on it, Grant? Are you going to build your own games?
I just quickly Googled the meaning of the name Claude, and its original French meaning is lame or enclosed.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah,
That's a poor
wonder what you
choice.
can read into that.
It's a poor choice of name. I'm sure I've heard that there's another connotation with the word Claude, but if that is it, that's not very good. Maybe in French it means something else, or in
No, that's
in
the original
Spanish.
French meaning, lame.
Oh, is that yeah? That is the. Oh, okay.
That's the original French meaning, according to Google.
Okay.
Google has been known to be wrong,
Well,
so
Google
I'm
probably
just
also doesn't like
qualifying that.
Google doesn't like Claude at the moment because Gemini is falling behind. But anyway, okay,
Possibly.
so then we get to Websim. Now, yes, be prepared for more incredible stuff. So Websim, if I could take this name and break it up, it literally is a simulation of the web. So in other words, you can create your own version of the web uh, for yourself. So just at the top there of Websim, you can type in literally any command, or you can even go and type a URL, a fake URL, but your own version of a URL that of something. So literally say cool shoe store you made up, and then it creates you a website of a cool shoe store. Now it's not a fully functional website, but still it's there. Or you have a piano synthesizer, and it creates that, and those little buttons actually work. The sound actually comes up, and you can choose different sounds, and you can record and play. Some of the functionality works, but others doesn't, because it's just the simulation. And then you can type in create a drum pad, and then you could literally go and set up your kicks, your snares, your hi-hat, and your hi-hat, and all of those sort of things. And it literally will create those beats for you. So again, mind blown on that one. And then another one that is create an interactive Microsoft Excel app. How's this? You can literally, you ask it that, and it builds like an Excel app. Now, again, not functional. So not these buttons work, but now just think about this for a while in terms of a start, and I'll show you. So some of it does work. So you can literally go put a formula in there, and it will actually calculate the formula in that Excel app. Or it says create Windows XP. That's what this guy did. And it went and created a similar thing to what Windows XP used to look like, with a couple of apps that it built on top of that. So it's really incredible. Even a start button that works, and the MS Paint that works. So that's just with one prompt. Interactive 3D shape viewer. This is just a cool ball that you can follow, or shape that you can go follow. So I'll take you through some of those things. So what you do is you get to Websim. I think it's .com, or I'm not. Yeah, it's .ai, and then at the top you can first go and look at everything that everybody else has built and play around with it. Not a great website, ironically enough, but then you can go and build your own stuff. So you could type in at the top there what you wanted to make, and things that you wanted to do. So back to the cool shoe store. Let's just go through that a little bit. So you can type in cool shoe store, and it'll build that for you in a matter of seconds. And then you can go play around with the start of this cool shoe store. I don't know why it's jumped to that now. It's a different, sorry, here we go with the cool shoe store. So yeah, you can play around with your new website that it's built. Let me just jump this a bit forward. So for instance, those buttons on there, the About Us and the catalog and those things don't work initially, but if you click on them, it's actually going to go and create that page for the website as well. There it shows you how you can download the website in HTML format and then actually go and paste it into a real web hosting place and continue building your website. But this gives you like an immediate start to your website. So if you, like I said, if you click on the buttons at the top, let's make it the About Us page, then it literally goes and creates the About Us page on the fly. So it doesn't have all the information about your store, but it just creates the outline for you, and it's already ready to go. So you can see there, and it literally creates a URL called Cool Store About, and then it fills in the information and gives you a nice timeline. All of those things still fictitious, but you can then go and work with that and plug in your own information about your cool shoe store that you want to build. Your catalog doesn't exist, but it goes ahead, click on it, and it creates it for you. So now you've got your About, you've got your catalog created. Those aren't shoes, but at least the placeholders are there, and you can go do it. It's even got some drop-down buttons, categories, and most popular, and starting to look like a real e-commerce website. Yeah, so I think if you just building websites on how quickly this is. If you look at the top here in the drop down, you'll start seeing all of the pages that it's now created, the main shoe store, the About, and the catalog. And then even if you want a refund policy, you can click that in and say, build me a refund policy as well. And in a flash, you've got a refund policy attached to the rest of your website. And then you can save each one of these pages separately or connect them to one another. So even if you say you want to create a subheader of your catalog and you want to break it into casual or business, then it'll break that up for you and show you exactly how, or start building onto that page quite quickly. And there you go. There's your casual collection of items that you want to build. So pretty quick and easy to build a website. And then for those of you who know a little bit about it, you can actually add parameters. All that it is if you add in your URL something that you say, okay, I want it to have prices. Oh gosh, now I clicked off my little video. And then if you say you want prices, it'll actually add prices to you say basically telling it to have prices, and the currency must be in Japanese yen, and it's gone and create the whole website, translated it into Japanese and given a Japanese yen prices for everything. So I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but it truly is mind-boggling in terms of how quickly and easily you can do this. And as I said, connect them to one another. Here's another example is if you just type a random name like in Animals Encyclopedia, it creates a website that looks like an Animals Encyclopedia website for you. And then again, if you click on one of the links, it creates that link on the fly with animals and information about animals. That information where it says learn more doesn't exist at this stage until you obviously click on one of those links, and then it generates that new website for you. And the images are also AI generated. So you can see now you've got one of a lion, and it gives you a whole bunch of information about a lion. So again, you can build your own animal encyclopedia website. Another cool one that I saw is, so for instance, if you want to create your own Reddit, you literally type in reddit.com and it builds you your own Reddit. Now, again, it's not functional, it's not in the internet, it's not published, it's not, nobody else is going to come and talk to you on this, but it creates the outline for you. So you could potentially build your own Reddit, your own Facebook, your own LinkedIn, and all of those sort of things by just typing in the links to all of these websites. And then, oh, here's a Twitter example. Make a Twitter, but all the users are dogs. So it creates literally a Twitter page, and you can see Golden Boy, Husky Howler, Corgi Cutie. And there at the top is a place for you to tweet, or I don't know, it's called it Pupster instead of Twitter. And then maybe you want to write some comment in there and bark instead of tweet. And then you can, if you type something in there, it actually, you click on it and you see actually there's your tweet and it's your dog name, and you tweet it. Now you can carry on and build more and more. You can build the sides of it and build all of that sort of stuff to make it look more and more like Twitter as you go. Yeah, so I think this is quite scary how these things can go. You've got the piano synthesizer here that basically is a workable, playable thing that you can go and create. This is the drum kit, and you can combine the drum kit and the synthesizer into one page by just combining the URLs with one another. And then this was I don't know which example was this. I want to get to lastly where you create the Microsoft. Yeah, this is the one, the Microsoft. That's the creating an Excel app where it's literally created the Excel app. It didn't work initially, but again, when you got errors on here, you just ask the app itself to fix the errors that it's created. And then you can create more of the Microsoft desktop. And finally, if you build the Excel and you build a Paint and even your player, and you come to, you see, you add all of your apps together, you can literally come to a point where your screen maybe looks like this, where you got your Microsoft Office, you got your Paint, sorry, not Office, Microsoft Windows. You got your Paint that literally works. You can scribble on it and makes it not complicated, but very simple sort of version of it. And there's the synthesizer piano on here as well. And then what this guy did is literally go and grab a picture of the internet, a Google search of the old Windows XP background, and it tells the app, change the wallpaper to this image, and gave it the URL to that image. And there you go, Windows XP Excel, your very own version that you created. So phenomenal stuff and scary stuff as well. Now this looks pretty similar. So what should I call it? Almost primitive, but I can assure you, you can ask any coders in terms of what this takes to build in real life. They'll tell you this is pretty scary, and what this tool can do, and literally anybody can do this. You don't necessarily have to be a coder or technologically inclined. So that's where Claude is going, and Websim is basically leveraged of Claude Sonnet 3.5. So you can actually select within Websim which tool you want to work with. You want to work with ChatGPT, or you want to work with Claude, or whichever one it is. So over to you guys. What are we going to build with this thing?
While you were talking, I just quickly built a website just on coaching, just out of interest.
Yeah.
And what was amazing is it creates your homepage, and then you've got about and services. So I gave it sort of about 10 words to say a website which does this,
yeah,
coaching website which can do this, this, and this. very quickly. So it does, and what is amazing that as you hit the services button, it goes and thinks about it. Then the things you mentioned, it builds out those services plus a bunch of others, and then it's got a blog one. And I sort of said, well, what's on the blog page? I thought didn't go there, but eventually it popped back up again. So it was obviously thinking, and it created 5 blog posts for me immediately.
Oh my goodness, about the right topic or fictitious topic?
Yeah, exactly. On a mix of coaching, leadership, and business advice, and it had 5 blog posts on that, which you then have to go, and if you go and link into them, then I just saw the summaries and then I'd have to go in and see if it changed it. But fascinating stuff. I mean, it's very, very interesting.
And you haven't tried Websim before. You literally heard about it as I was speaking.
I just typed websim.ai, it came up, and I said, that's it.
So you weren't listening to
go. Here's a
website.
There you go. Balancing profit and purpose. Read more. Let's see what happens if we.
Do you want to, Tony? You want to share your screen with us and show us, or?
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I'll just talk you through it because it doesn't come up quickly on the screen. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't actually write the blog post. Maybe it does. I'll tell you now.
That's fascinating.
On the coding side, I'm very interested with Claude whether it can actually do more complex coding. I mean that's interesting, but the ability to actually code a useful program, or snippets of a program would be really interesting. On the blog post, by the way, if you click on the blog post, it goes away and thinks about it, and then creates a blog post with a little case study, Chick-fil-A in the States, with the usual conclusion, which is a sort of a giveaway that it's an AI thing. In conclusion. So you want to change that, but anyway, very good.
No, that's incredible. Yeah, I do believe from all of the reviews and stuff that I've read is that people do believe that Claude is now leading in terms of coding and getting the coding right. OpenAI is obviously always working on it and improving on that, and they've got this thing that I talked about earlier where it will check itself. But phenomenal, this thing that you can have a split screen and literally see your work take place. Because I've tried before to, getting the LLMs to do coding, but then you kind of get stuck not being a coder. What do I do with this code now? Where do I test it? Where do I try it out? You can, I think you can go to Microsoft has got a VS, what do they call it? VS Code or something, where you can do it, but and then you've got to download that platform and get to know that platform. It's now all just happening in one place. Very, very cool. Anybody else
very
with
good
comments or insights for us? I know. Bertus.
Do you think we're going to need any high-level educated people with degrees after the next 5 years with all this AI stuff?
No, absolutely. I mean, for sure, jobs are going to change. Let's just put it that way, mildly. Not, we won't say jobs are going to go away, but they're going to change quite dramatically.
I mean, the banks are already using AI to replace CAs to, I believe, to look at your bond, if you can afford it or not.
Oh, yeah.
So AI is already doing that in the banks, and it's replacing high-level degree CA type people, which is interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. All right, that's all I've got for you guys today. Unless there's more questions or comments. Hi, Samantha. Nice to see you joined us. If you want to say hi, Samantha, if you're listening, unless you're busy doing your physio stuff. Samantha is a physio. Highly recommended. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. And hopefully we'll have some more cool stuff next week to chat about.
Quentin, I've got a question for you. Perhaps it's not on topic for today.
Yes.
But is there an AI system that can create like a whole workbook?
When you say workbook, you mean
like a template of a workbook, as an example?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking, were you on a meeting when I showed you Google's Notebook LM? Basically, what Google and some of you other guys might be bored by me getting excited by Notebook LM, but basically what it does is you can upload a bunch of source information like PDFs and stuff of your own information that you've got, or or a link to articles or websites or whatever it is, wherever your source information is. You can add that to this notebook, and then you can ask it to use that source information to write whatever it is, a blog, everything, or a workbook in your case. Generate a workbook from that. And the cool thing about it is it's not like going onto ChatGPT and ask it to do a workbook, which is just going to get information from everywhere and nowhere that you're not sure about, but it's literally your vetted and your information that you collected over time, your knowledge that you created about that topic that you drop into Notebook, and it will generate a workbook for you around that. And the nice, when you create that workbook, it will have citations of where that comes from. So in other words, it comes from that PDF file, and this quote I get from that website or whatever, and you can go check it, verify and check that it's correct. So I would highly recommend Google LM Notebook LM as a source. Go play around with that one. It's free.
And if you just give it an idea, if you like type out your idea, I want the workbook to look like this, and it needs to do this and that and all that. Just create like a box type thing.
If you're going to create from scratch,
like a design.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. If you're going to go create from scratch, then obviously Notebook is not going to work for you because you're not providing it any information. Then you could probably go to one of the regular websites. I would say Claude will probably be quite good. What you could do is get a screenshot of, say, the thing that you're looking to do, and then pasting that into Claude and asking it to generate something similar.
Interesting.
Yeah,
all right.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. All right, everybody.
Thanks. Enjoy your day.
Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.